Director of the League of Oregon Cities, and I'm really pleased that you took the time and are willing to learn about our affiliate relationship with the National League of Cities. We have had a relationship with the League of Cities in Washington, D.C. for several years, but it wasn't until more recently that we really jumped up and decided that we're going to really be active and participative in everything that they do, and again, connect all our cities here with them. For that reason, we decided to become an affiliate member and make every city really under 50,000 in the state a part of the NLC as an affiliate member. And that brings with it a host of benefits, of resources, and really a personal connection with an organization in DC that acts as your extension of what you get here from the League of Oregon Cities. So without further ado, I want to introduce my colleague and a friend. And he is a friend because prior to COVID, he was out here frequently visiting Oregon, getting around the cities, really working with us to build a presence. And then COVID kind of came in and took a piece out of that. So we're back at it. Things are changing. I know the announcement by the governor is welcome news. So it's 70% or June 30, whichever comes sooner. We'll be fully reopened. So things are really starting to return to normal. And so I think you'll see even more participation and more exposure here from the National League of Cities. So I want to introduce you now, if you haven't already met him, to Kirk Ross. Kirk is joining us from, where are you today, by the way? Are you in Alabama or?
Today I'm in Little Rock.
Little Rock, Arkansas, okay.
Yeah, you're gonna bust me out. So I am Kirk Ross. I'm the Membership Engagement Manager for the Western states. Though I did not grow up in the West, I do have family roots and ties actually in Eastern Washington, and have spent many fond summers of my childhood around Spokane. So Mike's gonna bust me out for not living in the West right off the bat. But it's great to be here with everyone in the League of Oregon Cities. Like Mike said, we have a special relationship, the League of Oregon Cities and the National League of Cities, under the affiliate agreement between our two great organizations. This covers all of the cities under 20,000 in population. So that's the majority of cities in Oregon. And there are about 12 that are not members as of yet in the National League of Cities, covered under that agreement. And so I am here to really make sure that you have the return on investment for your membership, because you've paid your dues to the League of Oregon Cities, and in turn, LOC has paid us as well. So I want to make sure you get the bang for your buck. And how can you do that is by taking advantage of the membership benefits and the engagement opportunities with the National League of Cities. So I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'll also be sharing with Mike at the end of this, along with some helpful links to get you involved in the National League of Cities. So with no further ado, I will go ahead and share my screen here. And we've got, so some of you may not be as familiar with the National League of Cities. So we are the advocacy organization in Washington, D.C. that speaks on behalf of all cities across the United States, and more than 200 million people that live in those cities. So our mission that is given to us by our members and our board is to strengthen local leadership, influence federal policy, and drive innovative solutions. So really, those are really fancy words to let you know kind of what we come to work for you every single day. So we want cities to lead. You are on the front line, you have the local knowledge of your city, and so we want to make sure that our nation is stronger when those cities are strongest, and that our nation is built as an idea of democracy, that we have our petri dishes of public policy. What happens in one and what works in one may not work in another, and then we can learn from each other all across the United States to be able to help support each other and develop innovative solutions. And then we also know that you are the expert in what you do every day, and that we take our cues from you, and that affects our policy, and that is also our marching orders for our federal advocacy staff to go and advocate for your city in Washington, D.C. So as a member-driven organization at our very core, your participation and your opinion and input to our daily activities is how our organization is ran. So, like I said, that starts with the federal advocacy committees. We have 7 of those in which our members sit on those committees and drive that policy. So the first one that I'll go over, and one of our most popular, is transportation and infrastructure. So this is where roads, bridges, transit, rail, aviation, and ports policy is set in this committee. Then they also have subcommittees according to those different groups, in which those subcommittees develop the policy, bring it back to the full committee, and then those votes go on to our board, and that's how NLC policy is adopted. So our full-time staff member, Brittany Kohler, which I believe has been on the program before, she is your full-time soldier in DC working for transportation infrastructure services. So the bill that has been recently passed, NLC had a lot of influence on the backside, making sure that your senators and your Congress members really understood where cities stood and the difficulties that you have faced and being able to maintain your roads and bridges in your cities. So we also have finance administration, intergovernmental relations. So this is where municipal bonds, capital finance, tax reform, antitrust issues are really handled within NLC. Energy, environment, natural resources, hazardous waste, climate change, energy, air quality, those issues are taken care of there. Public safety and crime prevention. This is everything from juvenile justice, municipal fire policy, homeland security, domestic terrorism. All of those issues are handled here. Human development. This is more social security issue, seniors issues, mental health policy, public health care. That's in there. Information technology. Within the recent news, cyber attacks and ransomware have become really forefront in a lot of municipal leaders' minds, and that is this committee deals with the wireless infrastructure, TV, cable, phone services, along with the cybersecurity issues. Community and economic development, another really popular issue, as economic development is a big issue for most cities and elected leaders. This is where land use policy, recreation, parks, and community and economic development policy comes from. So within NLC, we have the federal advocacy department, but we also have 3 other departments. I work within the membership department to make sure our members have that return on investment for their membership dues. And then we also have our Center for City Solutions, and we have our Institute for Youth, Family, and Education. So a little bit about the Center for City Solutions. This is where our research and development wing comes from. So this is where we are most of our polls that you participate in come from, and our research staff develop white papers and research policies. So those are broken into different teams. So there's one on sustainability and smart cities, innovation and entrepreneurship, housing and community development, economic development and finance, and then our pillar reports that come out every year. Those are the state of the cities reports and local democracy. So, and then we have international engagement as well. And we also, some of you may have had the chance to engage with our NLC University. This is our training side in which coaching and certifications come from this department. You'll see these at our NLC City Summit, in which they have multiple days beforehand in which the local elected officials come to receive training and gain certifications. So this is, like I said, this is the research department, and they do 30 to 40 research reports every year. Then into my department. So this is me and the entire membership team. We manage a group of member councils. So there's 5 of these, staging everything from suburbs, small cities, military communities, and so on. So small cities, a lot of cities think that they're too small to join NLC, and there's no such thing, because the majority of NLC members, 80%, are of these small cities. So we have one dedicated group that's managed by 2 staff members, the only one to be staffed by 2 staff members, that focuses on small cities issues and really has a place in the Small Cities Council that they hold meetings monthly to have presentations, discuss issues, and really drive NLC policy to make sure that NLC policy reflects the needs of those small cities. We have our large city councils. So I'll be looking at Portland, Oregon for this one. These are cities above 400,000 population and above. And they, again, they mirror the small cities council, and they make sure that large cities issues are being heard by our board. We have our university council. So this one functions actually in partnership with the Town and Gown Society, in which it works to foster a relationship between that university and the city. So places like Eugene and Corvallis would be cities that would fall into this council. The Military Communities Council. So this one originally was set up as a council, and it has really evolved over the years to reflect the needs of our members. Originally, this was municipalities that had a military base in it. But as we all know, our veterans live in all of our cities, and we thank them for their service. And this is a place in which city elected officials that really advocate for the needs of our veterans come to develop policy and advocate for the needs of our servicemen and women that have dedicated so much of their life to the freedom and liberties that we all cherish. So they work with the Wounded Warrior Project, and they advocate for on-duty and off-duty and veteran needs in their community. So we also have our First Tier Suburbs Council. I have the pleasure of being the liaison to this group. So it is just exactly what you think. It's all of the cities outside of that major metropolitan area. So outside of Portland, and really outside of all of those larger cities. We actually have a partner with TIP Strategies, in which we do an economic resiliency conference every year, in which one suburb is chosen to really dive into an economic development issue with our consultant TIP Strategies, and we host a one-day event with them, really focusing in on that issue. So last year it was virtual. We had the pleasure of working with the cities of Mesa, Arizona, Gilbert, and the town of Queen Creek to look at small business resiliency during COVID. And this year we will be working with the suburbs outside of Dayton, Ohio, over talent attraction, recruitment, and retention. Then we move on to our constituency groups. So these constituency groups are for people that self-identify with a particular group, or our cities that would like to learn about a particular group's needs. So we start off with the women in municipal government. We have our National Black Caucus of local elected officials, Asian Pacific American municipal officials, LGBTQ plus local officials, Hispanic elected local officials, and then this brings us into one of our teams in the membership department. This is our race, equity, and leadership team. I believe that y'all have had the pleasure of having Leon Andrews, our former director of the Real Department, come to speak at one of your conferences. So this is the department that really focuses in on race, equity, and leadership. So really making sure that our cities are equipped with the knowledge to be able to effectively lead in these times, and centering inclusive and diverse policies within their own city, and then within the community at large. So Real does this through trainings, technical assistance, and network building. And they also have an advisory council as well of our NLC members. And they've worked with a number of cities across the US. With your membership also comes a number of savings and solutions. So they range from everything from the most popular, the grant access. So if your city has not yet set up a profile within grant access, please reach out to me. My information will be at the end and we'll get you set up with one. This is the largest database of grants, period. At the time that this slide was developed, it was 10,000. Last time I checked, it was 12,500. So there are a number of grants out there from private foundations, state and federal grants. They can all be sourced from grant access. And as a member, you have one license profile to be able to access this. So make sure you take advantage of it. We have, of course, a number of these. Some of these benefits are actually managed by other departments in NLC, and I will be more than happy to get you in touch with the expert. However, I am not the expert on some of these, but I am the expert on the prescription discount program. So this is actually managed through CVS. However, it does not have to be used at a CVS pharmacy. This prescription discount is actually a card that you sign up through the program, and CVS works with your city to put your city emblem on this card. And then they ship a batch of them to you for you to be able to give out at, 4th of July events, Labor Day, Memorial Day events, and wherever your city interacts with the public, to be able to make sure that your citizens and residents are getting their discount program card with, brought to you by the city. If that's not a great PR push for a local elected official, I don't know what is. We have our Build American Mutual, the retirement security arm of NLC. We have SC Health for all of your personal protective equipment needs. And then we have the NLC Community Showcase program. This is a great program, as what we found out is that your digital self and your city's face on the internet is just as important as actually going to the city. Many people that are relocating, especially during the pandemic, were looking for resources to know what your city was like before they decided to move. And CGI can help you develop that digital identity for your city. So what CGI does, they will actually work with your city and then work within the community. It is free for the city, let me say that. But how that works is there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. They actually work with your businesses and organizations in the community to get sponsorships from them, and then they work that content into the city showcase. So your businesses actually end up floating the bill, but to do a holistic, real overview of the city to highlight, what makes your city unique. We have POLCO that actually works with the city to be able to poll residents so that you can get good information from your residents before making policy decisions. And then we have our NLC service line warranty program. I know that cities in Oregon have used this program. And what this does is that they actually partner with the city, and what they're looking for is they want to be able to inform your residents and really get in touch with them through the city's communication pipelines to be able to let them know that your residents' financial and legal obligations actually start at the meter. This is called your parallel lines to city infrastructure, and it's, can be anything from 10 to 30 feet of actual service line that the resident is liable for, and that is not covered under home insurance. HomeServe does work with, does within the letter that they send out in partnership with your city, they do have a line there that says, reach out to your home insurance and see if they offer a rider. From what I've been told by Home Service, that there's only one insurance company that actually offers an insurance rider to your homeowner's insurance. And so it is actually a pretty rare product to be able to purchase from a home insurance, but some of them do have it. And they encourage that the resident work with their existing home insurance provider before going to HomeServe. But when there isn't that option, HomeServe is there to help. So it's less than $10 a month, and it actually covers as a warranty for that service line to the home. Well, I want to make sure that everybody is getting all of the benefits that they have. So this is how we keep you up to date with what's going on at NLC. So we have our member roundup. This is the email that comes from me that you should get every Wednesday morning. And it highlights everything that has happened throughout the week in NLC and make sure that you know the opportunities available to you to enter into any technical assistance cohorts, or to be able to interact in events or new reports that have come out or white papers that have been published. Then there's a number of others that different centers have. Race, Equity, and Leadership has their own. IYEF has their own as well, along with a number of others. Then we also have our NLC Connected Communities. So what this is think of it as our own private Facebook. You as an elected official don't have the luxury anymore of, as being a public official, of really being able to go into the online world and talk about what issues that you are facing in the city and try to find out where to get resources from. So that is where Connected Communities comes in. This is a private digital platform that NLC manages that only other NLC members have access to. We have different communities set up that correspond to all of the FA committees, the member councils, and the constituency groups. And some of those are private, some of those are public within NLC membership that you can then enter into and have discussions with your peers, find resources in the digital library, and then also be able to post your own and be able to have that dialogue with your local elected peers. So it's a safe place for you to be able to go and really, really seek what you need from your peers. Then we also have our NLC events, our conferences and meetings. So our two main events throughout the year. The first one is our Congressional Cities Conference. So this is our DC fly-in. If you've ever been a part of another advocacy organization or trade organization, this is ours. It always happens right there the second week of March. This was the 10th through the 7th through the 10th, but we fly you in. This is where our keynote speakers come in. We're able to get people from the administration or the government federal departments. And then we also brief you on NLC policy. And then that's when we go and advocate on the Hill. NLC staff handles all of the logistics and setting up the meetings with your senators and members of Congress. And then we are able to go onto the Hill and let them know what local elected officials need. We are really excited. I'm a part of the Reimagining CCC group, and we are really looking forward to bringing some really great events for you next year when we're all in person. And we have our biggest event of the year is our city summit. This year it will be held in Salt Lake, November 18th through the 20th. So a very short plane ride from Oregon. I expect you all to be there. And this is where we really showcase everything that NLC has done. We bring on all of our partner organizations for speakers, and we host different meetings throughout the entire event to be able to really be able to learn from our members, and then our members learn from experts within the fields. So with no further ado, I am Kirk Ross. I know what my title says, but I want you to think of me as your own city staff. I work for you. I just happen to work in the NLC office. I don't know everything, but I do work with the experts, and we can get you in touch with whatever you need to be able to address the issues of your city, town, or village. Please take my information, log it in, make sure that I'm working for you. And it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on here, Mike. And if we have time for questions, I would love to hear from the audience.
Let's do it. And Kirk, you do know everything. And yes, I've been so impressed with the service line warranty program and so many other folks that are affiliated with the NLC. That was outstanding. That was the download that I needed, that I think everybody else needs here. So let me just pause here and open it for questions. If there are any, please unmute yourself and go ahead and ask Kirk any questions that you may have. In the meantime, so Kirk, you're going to make this PowerPoint available and I can get it out to everybody as well?
Yes, I'll be more than happy to. And every slide has an interactive link that you can go and follow that to our website to find more information.
Okay, I see Mayor McCardle came off mute. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do, because I was going to ask how, because I'd like to access the grant information. So what do I what do I do next? Like, walk me through it, because I'm very low tech.
Yes, so I am jotting your name down right now.
City of Independence, Oregon.
And I believe I already have your information in our database. I will send you an email and I will get you actually connected to the staff member that manages that relationship. We'll get you set up with a profile.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor.
And if you don't have it, I'll give it to you, but lots of kudos coming in through the chat and appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, Kirk is awesome. And you really should think of him as an extension of the League of Oregon Cities. And I certainly do. I mean, he's just there for me whenever I need him. And as always has been just a great contributor to our efforts and everything that's been able to happen for cities this year. I mean, when you talk about the CARES Act money and ARPA and all that, you know, we wouldn't have done that without the partnership that we have with the NLC. So a couple of more in the chat.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Mike, you know what? I can just set everybody up. Everybody that's here today, as just a thank you, we will make sure that everybody gets set up here. If Kevin, get me all the attendees, names, information, and we'll have everybody set up next week.
Perfect. And I'm glad you all found this very worthwhile, because we will archive this, put it up on our website for access at a later time. But again, Kirk, I want to thank you for everything that you do, for your partnership, for all the information. Again, more kudos coming in. People really appreciated what you had to do and say here today. So maybe this is something that we'll continue to do with you periodically from time to time. So
Yeah, I would be more than happy to make this a quarterly event.
any closing comments before we sign out of here today?
I just want everybody to remember, this is your organization. I work for you, our president works for you, and we need to know how to do our job the best. And the best way for that to happen is for you to engage with NLC. Please become part of one of the constituency groups, councils, or committees. Let's get a working relationship going. Please send me an email, call me, let me know what your city needs, and we will work together to solve those problems.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you at our statewide conference in October in Bend, because you probably want to come out to Oregon, and this will give you the excuse that you need. And, Mike will make sure you're treated right. Right, Mike?
Yep. Yes, I will absolutely.
I look forward to it. Actually, I had planned the day the national state of emergency was declared. I was supposed to be on a plane flying to Medford, Oregon. So I look forward to getting back into Oregon and look forward to seeing everybody in person.
Thank you.
And Joe, thank you. Glad you learned a lot. That's what this is all about. Didn't want to waste anybody's time, but had a lot of information to get out. And I think you did it really, really well, Kirk. So thanks again. Thank you, everyone who joined us. I appreciate it. As always, feel free to reach out to myself or Kirk directly. We're happy to get you the information. As Kirk said, he'll set you all up, just as he said just a moment ago. So thank you all. Kirk, thank you again.
Mike, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. Have a great weekend.
Yep. Stay cool, everyone. Bye-bye.